Enlighten Me, the podcast everyone is talking about, with your host, Julian, where wisdom, knowledge, and experience meet the public.
This is your host, Julian on Enlighten Me. Thank you all for joining. This is another video podcast. I told y'all to start doing more video podcasts. Y'all asked for it. Check out my YouTube, Enlighten Me Podcast, and we go from there. So before we get started, you all know if you want to get on a podcast or something you want to refute, debate about, just email me at enlightenmejulian@gmail.com. And we can go from there. So Ken, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good today and glad to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Perfect. Thank you again for joining me on Enlighten Me. And those listening, thank you as well for the support and love. Can you briefly introduce yourself, sir?
Yeah, so I'm a relationship coach. I've been working with couples for about 20 years. My first focus was on, like what happens in the bedroom. But I started to understand the man-woman dynamics from that point of view. And so, more generally, like how men and women relate with each other, what makes a good relationship, what makes it last, what makes it thrive, what makes it fulfilling for people, why does it usually crash? And then most recently, I've been looking a lot at like commitment, like what makes a relationship last and what makes it a life partnership. Those are my main focuses.
Have you fumbled upon anything startling in the last, year?
Startling. What I've been noticing recently is how many, I ran an ad for, couples who've been together for a few years and they're still trying to decide whether they're lifelong partners or whether it's, not going to work out. I ran some ads and I was surprised at how many men were reaching out to me after the breakup saying, hey, how can you help me get my partner back? And I know there are a lot of people who may be able to do something there, but I can't really help them. Their partner is already out of the picture. The best thing I can recommend for them is respect the decision that your partner has made. It's over. But that was really surprising to me. How many men say, my partner left me, and like, it's a little too late to be asking for help at that point. Yes. You know what I mean? So that surprised me.
What side did it teeter on? Did they do something or did their partner do something and they wanted her back?
It's usually, well, I'm just talking about the people who reached out to me.
Okay.
And usually they know what they did. Like, by the time their partner has said, I can't handle this anymore, I'm asking for separation or I'm out the door here. Usually the men know what they did. I wouldn't say it's always the man. I think it's about half and half, Okay. Not everybody's perfect, but in terms of who was reaching out to me from that ad, it was guys whose partner had already left. And man. I was like, it's a little bit late for asking for help at that point.
Yeah, I think ego may go into play. Like, she left me or I did what I did. And it's like, man, I really miss my other half, supposedly my better half.
Yeah, I don't think men are aware of how good they have it or how important it is for them to listen to their partner. Like if she's upset, then you really need to listen to what it is she's upset about. And if you need help in how to make her happy while she's there, that's something I can help with.
Yes.
So.
Okay. So I was looking up some things. Rates have changed in the last 50 years. What does that say about modern commitment since it has decreased from 76% to 28%?
Marriages, was that a statistic for people getting married or whether they last or not?
Divorce, yeah. Modern commitment.
I think there's a real epidemic of people who don't really know how to create a relationship that is like a true life partnership. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have it modeled for us. Mostly what we've seen is couples getting divorced. I certainly didn't know how to have a good relationship. And I just think there's nothing out there that's modeling for us what a good relationship can look like.
Not. Definitely not. What brought you into that realm of wanting to help people with relationships and coaching and things?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the truth is I was a software engineer.
Yeah.
And I was terrible in relationships. I was whiny, I was needy, I was codependent, I was bad in bed. I was every way that I was misogynistic. I managed to be misogynistic and have nice guy syndrome at the same time. So I was bad in every way that you can be bad. And I really needed to learn, like, what is have a healthy, thriving, emotionally mature relationship with a woman. And so I had to do a deep dive myself. And I kind of went full time. Like, I quit my job and I really went full time. And once I had the knowledge of how to actually craft a good relationship with a woman, people started coming to me and asking for help. Or just like, I would have conversations and people would say, wow, that was really helpful. And a friend said, you need to, you're being selfish. You really need to start helping people in this regard, because you have knowledge now that's useful for other people. And I was like, that's true. So I left my career and just started doing this. I've been doing it full time for 20 years. So,
Jeez, man. I'm sure there were, I guess, you were married at the time or in just a normal relationship?
just in a relationship.
I'm sure she would give you some type of, hey, this isn't going well. Hey, I need more of this or anything like that before y'all broke up.
Yeah, yeah. It was really interesting. She was asking for a certain thing that was kind of out of my range. It was just not my style. We were together for a couple years, and after a while, she realized, you know what? There's nothing wrong with you. You're actually a great guy. There's something that I want that's different. And once she stopped, like, trying to pretzel me into what she wanted and just recognized, oh, you know what? This is a great guy. There's so many qualities about him that I really like and enjoy, but I want something different. And then we had an amicable breakup. And later, when she was dating someone else, she wanted me to coach them, because there were things that even in that relationship, there were things that I did right that, she wanted in her new partner. So that's kind of how I ended up doing this work.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question that men always say, and I guess it's stemming on social media. Do you think women always want more or not fulfilled? Is there fulfillment to women?
I don't think they always want more. There is a belief that women are unsatisfied,
Yes.
chronically unsatisfied and unsatisfiable, and that is absolutely false.
Yes.
I think we as men, the expectations are not even expectations, but what women desire, what they're looking for, what they hunger for, has shifted so much from what we were trained. We were trained, we need to be a provider, and then all the basic qualities, is he wealthy? Is he athletic? It's funny, I'm writing an article right now about this. So I don't know if your audience can tell, but I'm 5'0". I am very, very short.
Okay.
I, for a long time, believed that, like, I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't wealthy, I wasn't athletic, I wasn't tall, I wasn't, charming. And so I believed that I was hopelessly unattractive. Like, in the scoring that we do, I would be at the bottom. But what I learned from talking to women about what they actually want and what actually is fulfilling to them and what actually works in a relationship, a lot of what I learned from women. And what I learned was that none of those qualities were deal breakers or even what they were looking for. What they actually want is a partner in life. What they want is, now, mind you, here we are, two men talking about what women want, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a I'm going to admit that there's a danger, but I will tell you, I have not heard women say, where are all the rich, good looking guys? Like, what I've heard again and again and again and again, like a broken record, is, where are all the emotionally mature men? And so that is not what we were brought up to focus on. We were brought up to focus on, she's going to be the emotional provider in the relationship, and I'm going to be the emotional recipient in the relationship. So I don't think women are unsatisfied or unsatisfiable. I think we as a group have a lot of growing to do and a lot of listening to the woman who's in front of us and what it is she wants. And there may be growth and change that we have to do in order for that to happen.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And again, like you said, it's two men talking about what women want. But I mean, you're more inclined because you've been doing this for some time. So I think we'll leave it on your leverage more for this one. Because I know somebody's on a comment like, social media is. I saw that the median marriage age is 30 for men and 28 for women, which has gone up from 23 to 20. I'm guessing economy, of course, and other things of that nature.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's the economy, like it's a lot harder to have a single income household right now.
Yes, definitely.
So both partners need to be more established, and I think it's just a preference that they want to spend more time building their careers. They want to spend more time dating and deciding what they like. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad trend. Like it's hard to know in your 20s what's going to be fulfilling for the rest of your life. And
Definitely.
so once you're in your 30s, it's like the further you go, the easier it is to know what it is that you want.
Do you think social media could have a huge hyperstimulation on options as well?
Yeah, and especially the dating apps. That's actually one of the things I was going to say from the earlier conversation, which is, the tendency to swipe. There was this really kind of amazing British miniseries that came out on Netflix. It's called Adolescence.
Hmm.
And it really goes into a lot of the struggles that boys and men are facing and the ripple effects, like how a boy that seemed like he had a good father, but just the dynamics of what takes place in the schoolyard and the stories and the red pill stuff, all the manosphere stuff that gets in their heads, and he ends up doing something really really awful. Key in there was this idea that 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And my God, I was just thinking, if I had been raised to believe that, my life would be radically different. So I think that statistic comes from Tinder, right?
Yes. Yep.
That statistic comes from Tinder, and what we know is that Tinder is not a representative of what's actually happening in the world. So if you look at marriage statistics and relationship statistics, it tells a different story. Like people pair up. It's not like 80% of men aren't getting paired up. That's not how it works. So I think the belief that that's true, and how the social apps, including the dating apps, reinforce these really, really superficial criteria. And the funny thing is, you can, because I don't call myself a dating coach. I wouldn't be a good dating coach. I'm a relationship coach because I work with couples.
Yes.
But what I've noticed is, like, you can get really good at the dating scene and still not be in a relationship, or still not actually have the skill. You can have all the skills to do well on the dating apps, your profile, the way you show up on the first date, all these things. You get really, really dialed in and you're kind of expert at it and you're getting really good results, and you're still not in a long-term relationship because you don't have relationship skills. Those two very, very different skills, right? And so I think this trend is being exacerbated by the social media and the dating apps, which focus on the very, very superficial things, how you appear, not who you are, or actual true connection, like intimate connection between two human beings that you need in order to actually have a good relationship.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that. I know dating apps have changed the social fabric, especially during COVID, of how to engage with somebody in person rather than just swiping and having a copious amount of, I guess, dates and options. So I wonder how that's trickled into people's mindsets. Like, okay, I can date you, but I have like 4 other people. Do you think that holds back the tendency to actually grow?
I mean, you could be right about that. The fact that there are so many fish in the sea, right? You flip through hundreds and hundreds of thousands and thousands of faces, and there's always someone else. And so there's no investment in actually getting to know someone, so I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, I know I know a lot of people don't like Jordan Peterson, but he did something on the same note about it and how it's changing. It's like it's bigger than the government, how it's changing people's mindsets on interactions and things of that nature, which is pretty wild actually.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that.
I think the next one was, is love still the primary reason people get married, or is it now financial status or lifestyle compatibility? Yeah, it's not a bad question.
Well, I think there's a variety of reasons as to what actually can make a good long-term relationship, something that's actually going to last, where you're not at each other's throats or just kind of dead inside and going through the motions. Like there's a lot of ways it can go, right?
But definitely.
But I think, and I hesitate to use the word love because so many people have different definitions of that. I think absolutely you want to love your partner by
Yes.
whatever that means to you. But people get married and love each other and things go haywire. But I think there's a thing where like this is the person you want to do life with. Do you know what I mean? Like this is the person you've chosen to do this thing we call life with. Do you know what I mean? Like I think here's how I think about it. You can have a really good life alone. You can travel the world. You can eat at the best restaurants. You can go, skiing down a hill. Like the world is so rich of experiences. And you could go your whole life having an amazing life without a partner.
Yes.
And then there's this thing that I call connection, which we all hunger for. And I think that's what it is that has us want to be together in a couple with another human being is that feeling of connection that you're co-experiencing the world and you're co-experiencing life with another human being, not by yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like to be eating dinner with somebody that you can talk about how amazing it is, to have struggles in your life and to be doing it with another human being. So that sense of connection is, to my mind, the thing that we're hungering for that has us want to be in a long-term relationship rather than alone or in a bunch of casual relationships. And I think when that thing is there, then there's the possibility that it could be a long-term relationship.
What would be your definition of, I guess, comparison on compatibility and connection?
Yeah. So I think of it this way. You can have chemistry with someone.
Yes.
Chemistry is where it feels so good to be with them. Like it just feels so good. You know what I mean? But chemistry can cause you to be self-conscious. Chemistry is where like you're paying attention to how you're perceived. You don't want to do anything that's going to ruin the vibe. You know what I mean? Like there's a vibe that you're both trying to keep going. And if you have that, then it's great. But if you're going to be married to someone or you're going to be in a long-term relationship with someone, you can't keep up that facade forever. At some point, you have to you also have to have the skill of having uncomfortable conversations.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So connection is where it feels really good and you totally feel like you can be yourself. You know what I mean? Like what I love is that I can be myself with my partner. And so that's kind of the distinction I make. Do you have to be like protective of the vibe? Do you have to like manage how you're being experienced, how you're being perceived? Or can you truly be yourself? Now, I think it's possible to have chemistry and connection, but if there's this kind of cliche that chemistry isn't a good predictor of long-term success. And I think actually what's true is lack of connection. Like if you can't be yourself with the person, you're going to be wearing that facade with the person you live with the person you spend the most time with for a very long time. And pretty soon, like that's not going to last. So I think of connection as the person that you can be yourself with and it feels good. Like with my wife, what I noticed is every time she left, it was too soon. Do you know what I mean? Like we would spend a few hours together. It was amazing. And then when she left, I wanted to spend time with her. And then we would spend weekends together. And by the end of that, I still wanted to spend time with her. And I don't have that with everybody. Do you know what I mean? Like I was kind of a loner. So to find someone that like I don't get tired of spending time with her because I can be myself. Like she knows more about me than anybody and she is approving of it. I know more about her than anybody and I love every part of it. I find it very endearing. So that's what I call connection.
I know you said something about I don't know my partner or something like that. Do you think people, I guess they call it the cupcake phase. I kind of don't believe in that. I think you can have a good marriage or relationship throughout the whole one. Why do people like probably, I'll say 90 days out feel like they don't know the person they're with?
Well, it comes back to like dating versus actually in a relationship, right? Like when you're dating, when you're first getting to know someone and you want to impress them and you want to, that you want to be liked and you're cultivating something because you see potential, you are at risk of not being yourself.
Yeah.
And so 90 days in, pretty soon, like that has to switch to can you be yourself with this person? Can you say something that you are ashamed or embarrassed about? Can you say something that you're afraid is going to make them angry? Can you say those things that really reveal yourself? And so, yeah, I can totally picture that 90 days in, people are saying, I don't really know this person. I think 2 years before you really can say that you even are beginning to know the person. I personally believe I'm going to spend the rest of my life getting to know my wife. I'm going to spend the rest of my life getting to know her. But my rule of thumb is about 2 years. Before, like less than 2 years, you are at risk of discovering something major that could be a deal breaker. Like after 2 years, you've hopefully have gotten through a lot of the stuff and really, really gotten to know each other.
Do you think, I know, and this probably goes against some people's religious beliefs, early cohabitation can help with the...
Yeah, I'm totally, like if it feels good to both of you and you want to do it, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any restrictions. It's a very good way to get to know somebody very intimately. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're thinking about long term, you're going to learn a lot about someone by living with.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you always said you're going to get to know your wife throughout the years. I preached on another relationship podcast probably about 2 years ago. You should always be studying your partner weekly, monthly, yearly, because they're going to grow and you're going to grow, but make sure y'all are aligned and growing together. So it's always a thing. It's pertinent.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Let's hope, if you're in your 30s and you're with somebody, let's hope that 10 years later, you're a different human being than you were in your 30s or your 20s. Do you know what I mean? Like I think a synonym for longevity is change. You better be aware that you are going to grow and change, and that your partner is going to grow and change, and that you're constantly saying, okay, this is who I am now. This is who I am now. What kind of relationship do we want to have now? Like what needs to change so that this relationship is actually really good and fulfilling and enjoyable for both of us?
What is,
And that's,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's why like the underlying connection to me is what allows that to happen, as opposed to like some particular thing that your partner, some particular quality about your partner that, like, is it going to be there 10 years from now? No, we don't know. But if you have connection with somebody, you're crafting the relationship. You're constantly crafting the relationship to be good for both of you.
What do you see the number one foundation in most relationships is the stronghold between the two? What do you think that is?
Well, I don't know if this is answering your question, but there are a couple of components that I think have to be there. One is kind of what we've been hinting at, which is at some point you actually have to be honest with your partner. Like you have to be honest. You have to like expect that this is someone who's going to eventually know everything about you, and that if there are secrets that you think the relationship requires you to keep a secret, that's not a good sign. And because it's always, always, always going to be in the way. So honesty, like just be prepared that you are going to, everything about you is going to be revealed.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Test to see how they accepting of who you are. So honesty is one. Emotional maturity is one, like, are you able to handle your own, are you aware of your own emotions?
Yeah, aware.
So that they're not running you. Are you able to express them without doing wreckage? And so like a litmus test for me is, I don't think getting angry is a problem. I don't think getting angry is like, I don't think people need to learn how not to be angry. I think they need to learn how to not cause wreckage when they're angry. Okay. I think they need to learn how to not be vindictive, say things they regret, be, like just be mean. If you get mean when you're angry, that's the thing you need to work on. You need to actually learn how to be angry in a way that doesn't cause wreckage. So when my wife is angry at me, because she's a passionate human being, which I love, like she's a passionate human being. She is able to be angry full on. I can feel her anger in a way that never has me feel disrespected. I can always feel her high regard, even when she's super angry at me about something. And that is a skill. Do you know what I mean? To be angry at someone, like think about someone that you have super high regard for. I don't care who it is, but like think about how you would talk to them and talk to your partner that way when you're angry.
Yeah, because they're close to you, so it affects them a little bit more per se. What was that question I was going to ask? What's the number one thing you feel like men break up with women over and women break up with men over? Is it the same type, or is it what do you think? I know it's cool. I know it's numerous things, but what the number one or two?
So men break up with women. Again, we're making generalizations, right?
Yes, definitely.
So there's going to be just as many cases where this isn't the case, or even where it's reversed. So we're just making generalizations here.
Okay.
I would say men often break up with women because, from the man's point of view, it's because they're not having sex anymore. And because she's shut down, she's just like, she quiet quit him. And women tend to break up because they're not being listened to, they're not being heard, and they're not being, they're just not being listened to. And so what'll happen is, if he's not listening to her and paying attention and giving respect to what her desires are. And I want to return, because you brought up a really important thing earlier. Yes, women's desires can be met. It is, don't fall into the trick of thinking, oh, she's unsatisfiable. No, she's just asking for things that might be difficult for you. What she's probably asking for is for you to develop some emotional skills that we weren't trained at growing up.
Oh, definitely.
And so, she's not being listened to. She shuts down. And the sex stops. That warm, loving feeling that he's been accustomed to this whole time, like there's something he can tell something's wrong. She's polite. She does everything, but he can tell she's not actually present. She's not actually, loving anymore. Yeah. And so if he breaks up, it's because the sex stopped, typically. And if she breaks up, it's because, like I said, he wasn't listening to her and he was blowing her off. That's kind of that is a common dynamic. It's not the only dynamic, but it is a common.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of goes hand in hand. If he's not listening to her, she won't have sex, so he's like, "I'll leave." And if he's not getting sex, then so I guess it does go hand in hand. Definitely does.
Yeah, they can end up in a spiral of just holding out on each other more.
Yeah, and it's sad because I brought up that whole thing. These are generalizations that I see on social media that I try to stay away from the algorithm. But I read comments every now and again, and the accountability thing with women and never being fulfilled is, I know they're speaking from hurt or experience, of course. I wouldn't say knowledge so much. Yeah, it's truly metastasized on social media, and it's trickling down to younger men and things of that nature. Because I'll see older men, I would say about 60, 50, maybe 40s. They'll tell younger men like, hey, don't get married, don't do this, divorce, stuff like that. And, social media isn't a valuable source, but they'll post celebrities, that wife's getting all the money and all that jazz and stuff like that. So I think people need to guard their mind at the same time, because social media it's nothing positive really on social media. It's like the news itself, and people are invigorated by, or stimulated by negativity and things of that nature. Yeah. Sad.
I 100% agree. And I will admit that I'm biased, because literally my day job is to talk to couples and have them see each other, understand each other, and shift things around so that the relationship is fulfilling and happy for both of them. And so because of that work, because that's what I do on a daily basis, my bias is that lots of problems that people have that are pointing them, like if it isn't handled, it's going to lead them to breaking up and getting nasty with each other, like really nasty with each other. Those are, from my point of view, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are resolvable issues. They're fixable issues.
Definitely.
And I can understand why, if you don't I had to learn myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't born good at this by any stretch of the imagination. So I can understand why, after 3 or 4 or 5 rounds of either relationships, or you got married, maybe you got married twice, and you're just like, this is impossible. And now I'm going to be one of the people who's getting on social media and saying, whatever it is, when women are evil, or don't get married because they just want your money, like all that stuff. All of that is the result of an unresolved breakup, a breakup where it turned nasty, instead of a breakup where they really saw each other, they understand each other, they respect each other, and they just realize that they're not right for each other, and they have a breakup, right?
Yeah, It's pretty bad.
So people, not everybody that I coach ends up happily together. Like some people coach with me and they realize that they need to break up and they break up. But there's two things that if they break up after they work. One, it's an amicable breakup, right? They see each other, they understand each other, they respect each other, they appreciate each other, but they just know that they're not right for each other. And number two, they send me clients just like the people who were happy. Do you know what I mean? Because it was worth it to them. So
Yeah, I find it, and it's interesting because again, social media. I was reading up on something and said the divorce rate has dropped 18%. So it's doing much better, and the people aren't divorcing as much. So I guess it's the hyperstimulation of the algorithm finding you liking negative things about women or men, and then just again exacerbated, like you stated.
You know, it's interesting. I see on TikTok the younger generation are potentially more emotionally mature and have a better attitude about relationships than certainly my generation or recent generations.
Oh, why do you think that
So
is?
I think they're not indoctrinated into the thing that like the traditional male and female roles crashed in the 1950s. Do you know what I mean? And I think they grew up in a time when they weren't indoctrinated into this idea that he's the provider. When I was growing up, I'm gonna date myself here, but there was a program, there was a TV show called Father Knows Best. So he's the head of the household. He makes all the decision. He's rational and reasonable, and he's the smart person to be making decisions for the household. He's the provider. His word is the law. The woman tends to be emotional. Her job is to take care of the house, take care of the kids. And mainly her job is to be the emotional caretaker of everyone else in the house. So it's her job to manage to be the provider of emotional good feelings for everybody in the house. So I just want to say, if that model works for you, great. If it's working for you, if you have that kind of relationship and it's working for you, great. It's more power to you. I totally support you.
Yeah.
But if you're trying that model and it's not working, the problem is the model, not you. Because there's lots of other ways to have an amazing relationship. It has to actually be crafted like tailor-made to who you are. And I think a lot of the young kids, they're just not indoctrinated in that model. And so they have a lot more, it's funny. On the one hand, there's like the incels and the manosphere and Andrew Tates and all that stuff, But on the other hand, there's a lot of kids out there who, when I listen to their TikToks and how they talk about relationships, they have it together. Like they're more mature than I was at that age, for sure. They have a better, they care about the right things. And so I have optimism about this upcoming generation.
Yeah, I definitely think they'll be filled more with love because, again, like you were saying back in the day, the father made all decisions and things of that nature. So now people are asking questions like, why?
Mm-hmm.
And those questions are being answered in different ways. So yeah, I definitely see it. Yeah, a little bit more love back when these kids grow up a little bit more, and hope.
Yeah.
Do you think did I cover everything? Is there anything else that I missed, or anything you'd like to say upon anything else?
No, this has been a great conversation. I think we could do another one of these.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do one on what is it? I think sex, intimacy. Yeah. So again, you have a website that people can visit.
Yeah, you can check me out if you want to learn more. You can go to kenblackman.com. And if you want to read, like I've done a lot of writing that on these different topics, I go into more detail. So you can find those at kenblackman.medium.com. Blackman.medium.com is where you can.
Perfect. Again, please check out his website. Thank you again, Ken, for joining me on Enlighten Me. Thank you for listening. Those who are listening, please subscribe, share, and again, email me if there's anything I missed or you want to hear about. There'll be a poll, and it will be posted on YouTube and now Instagram. So I just started that up. And Ken, you don't have an Instagram, do you, or is that more personal?
I do, and I'll follow you.
Okay. I'll definitely shoot you.
I'll share your stuff out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely follow it. And if you guys want to follow Ken as well, if you don't mind, then y'all can do that. But that's Enlighten Me. We're going to sign off now, and y'all have a good evening. Take care, and God bless.